Hello there. Welcome to my show, COVID-19 update by Heerak for July 23rd, 2020. Yes, it's one day before TGIF. Yes, thank God it's Friday. TGIF. That's tomorrow. So I think summer, it's beach day. So hopefully you are all getting ready to head out to the beach. Yeah, I mean, summer, you only have a few more weeks left. After summer comes winter. And you know, during COVID era, you're not going to be able to go anywhere because, inside is dangerous with COVID-19, even with a mask on. So, restaurants are closing, bars are closing. Inside entertainment will be closed throughout the whole winter. It will be the most depressing winter in the history of United States of America. Yes, it's gonna be horrific. So you're not gonna have any fun this winter. So you need to stock up on some fun during summer, because in the open air it's fairly safe. As long as you social distance. But during winter, you're not gonna be able to do that. So yeah, so don't lose out. I mean, let me pour myself some some soda here. Um, but yeah, so pour yourself a nice cool soda, or it's probably not a good idea to consume too much alcohol, you know, because yes, you can have fun, but it is a COVID-19 era, so you don't wanna do anything that's gonna lose your faculty ability to distinguish from right and wrong. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. Today is Peanut Butter and Chocolate Day, 23rd of July. And as we know from all the Reese's Pieces commercials in the past, I have peanut butter, I have chocolate. And then they on each other, and then peanut butter gets mixed with chocolate, and you have Reese's Pieces. Okay, have you seen those commercials? If not, you could probably Google it and watch some of those commercials. It's kind of tacky, but it's kind of funny. So yeah, but it was in for a while, a while ago. Yeah, but Reese's peanut butter, chocolate, is pretty good stuff. I really like it. Um, yeah, it is COVID-19 death era, and over 1,000 Americans are dying every day from COVID-19, and the numbers are kind of rising. And here are Christian Kim, that's who I am, independent candidate for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District, which is Arlington, Alexandria, Falls Church, and Fairfax County. Um, I'm predicting that, yes, yes, so this is, yes. Yeah, I mean, you know the feeling, right? Yeah, so, but that's the way COVID-19 is saying, this is my world. You do what I say. That's why during the winter time, we're going to be closed. We're going to be absolutely closed because COVID-19 is saying, this is my world. You do what I say, Well, I mean, it's God's world, but, but, and God created COVID-19. But yeah, COVID-19 is basically setting the tone for how we, behave. Um, Wintertime, it's going to be flu season. A lot of people are going to die. Um, Everything's going to be closed. Um, so yeah, just I would encourage you just to have a lot of fun this weekend. Do something meaningful and fun with your family members, your children. Go to the beach. Make sure you social distance. Wear a mask when you're near people. But yeah, just scope out a nice spot. Isolated spot, and you could spend suntan and stuff without mask on, probably. When you go inside the water, it's not like you're going to be like next to people. I remember going to the beach you know, ever since I was little, I don't remember being close to anybody, you know. You just ride the waves. I mean, you may be close to like your friends and family that you go out with, but on the other hand, you know, they may be kind of 6 feet away as well when they're riding their waves, you know. So it's probably pretty safe in the beach as long as you're not inside. As I, Heerak Christian Kim has recommended, just don't go inside a restaurant or a cafe or a bar. You know, eat outside. When you take off the mask to eat, that's when you could get infected. Or you take a mask off to drink, you could get infected. So just eat outside. You know, bring the food back to your beach area, but have fun. You know, I mean, geez, you know, whole winter's coming. That's like fall's coming. So starting fall, you can't really, you know, I mean, you can't really do stuff because a lot of entertainment is inside, right? Like movie theaters, bowling alleys, you know, um, yeah, you can't really do any of that, you know, bars and restaurants. So, yeah, I mean, you know, get all the fun out of your system, you know, in July and August. Things may start closing down in August, you know, because of COVID. So, I mean, you don't have that much time. I mean, if cities or states or beaches shut down in August, I mean, you can't go there, right? So, yeah, I mean, I just, you know, it may not close, but it could because of COVID 19. Virginia is seeing a rise of COVID 19. So we have like around 1,000 or more cases. It's probably going to go to 2,000. So, you know, you have limited time to have fun. So I'd encourage you to go have fun, you know, in the beach. It's TGIF. Yeah, TGIF. And, uh, you know, fishes are waiting. If you like fishing, you swim with the fishes. If you are in an area where that's possible, you know, and there may be, this is Mindy and this is Mandy. There may be like you know, you can swim with fishes. It's so fun swimming with the fishes. You know, when I was in Israel, I used to go down to Eilat and have a really good marine life there. And so, yeah, you know, you go in there, snorkel, and then you have school of fish like swimming towards you in the Red Sea. You swim with those fish. You can like kind of touch them. It feels a little icky, but it's fun. Yeah, I mean, so yeah, don't lose out on the summer fun. You know, if you have a family, take your family to have some fun because it's going to get bad in the winter. So, and also, you know, as I said, I recommend that you make like a little, you know, summer book. It's like an yearbook, but it's condensed of your family for the summer, you know? So you take photographs of you and your children having fun in the beach, building castles, you know, doing a lot of fun stuff, you know, just goofing around. And then you kind of make a yearbook out of it, you know? You could include quotes of things that you say, your husband says, your children say, you know, it's like memory to remember by, right? You give one book to like each one of your family members. So if any of you die during winter from COVID, you know, you have a memory of these, you know. Make sure you document with photographs and quotes because at the end of the day, after a family vacation, what do you have left? Really? Photographs, right? Memories, but memory starts to fade. You need like photographs to remember. And yeah, I would say don't just put it up in Facebook because you don't know what's going to happen to the digital world in the future. We just don't know. So you could print out a little booklet. You could Google like, you know, picture book or, you know, you could create a little yearbook on your own. Um, you know, a picture book for your family, you know? And if there are some other fun things, like when you go to church, you could take some photographs of your children and you singing hymns in the church, you know, faces of individual photos, you know, just like document everything, you know, that your family does. Make a, you know, like a summer book and give to everybody. And you could like look at it and, you know, laugh about it, you know, chuckle about it. You know, human beings, we're different from animals because we can make memories and we can preserve our memories, you know? So I know there's like Twitter, Instagram, and I have my Instagram and Twitter account, Heerak 4 Congress number 4. So go visit it and see. But there's something different about having a little yearbook on your own, like something you could just flip through. Because like Facebook and Instagram, it's like 2D, right? It's not 3D. It's like just a screen and you have to scroll down. Whereas like a book, it's a 3D. You could open it, you could like flip through the pages. It's something special, so yearbook and stuff like that. Yeah, so I'd encourage you to create a little picture book of summer for your family, like a family book. And everybody could contribute. You could have your children write like poems or little stories, make it fun, make it a family activity. See what you get, watching this show, COVID-19 update by Heerak. I give you so many great ideas to improve the quality of your life, And that's what I did with my friends from Macedonia. Those two ladies are from Macedonia. And I met them at Cambridge University. And, we went to Stratford upon Avon, it's called, Shakespeare City. And we just had a lot of fun, just like spent the whole day just having fun. And it was great. And they're Macedonians. I got to learn more about Macedonia. And then my friend's sticking her hand inside the the mouth. A lot of people do that. A lot of tourists. That was a lot of fun. Life is what you make it. You gotta find ways to have fun, and that's what I do. I'm a very fun person, so I find ways to have fun, and you can see. I take trips. I invite my friends on like a day trip, and we just have a lot of fun. And so, yeah, um, if we have vaccine next year, things could be different. I don't know. I mean, vaccine's kind of hard. HIV doesn't have a vaccine after decades of research. Hepatitis C doesn't have a vaccine after decades of research. So I wouldn't count on it, but it could happen. Yeah, let's see, but you take a day at a time. And I'm saying like tomorrow is TGIF. Make sure you go and have fun. You gotta take day at a time. The winter is coming. It's kind of like Game of Thrones. Winter is coming. Winter's not going to be pleasant. A lot of people are going to die. Maybe you're going to die. Maybe your children are going to die. We just don't know what's going to happen in the winter. So it's a big unknown. And that's one of the scariest things because we just don't know what's going to happen. And experts don't know what's going to happen. They know that there's going to be a lot of deaths, but they can't really tell you how many. They really don't know much about COVID-19 yet. So, yeah, so take one day at a time. Have fun when you can. And right now it's time you can have fun. Weather's nice outside. There are beaches open. So I would encourage you to just go and have fun. Take your children. Because in winter you're not going to really have a chance to have fun unless you like have a mansion and like an acre of land. Then it could be fun. I've been watching Heartland, and it's such a relaxing show. If you haven't seen Heartland, I would encourage you to see it because it's relaxing. Because like Heartland is a ranch that has like 800 acres of land. There's just so much land, it's so relaxing. You're just watching the show, just relaxes you watching the show and the horses. I could see why people like horses. I've always wondered why people like horses so much. But I guess I now understand kind of, why people like horses, Yeah, watch Heartland. It's like Heartland, one word, Heartland. And you can see it through Netflix. It's a show that ran for like 10 years, I guess, and it was, it ended like a couple years ago, a few years ago. And so I just started watching. I love it. Yeah, I mean, I love animals, and so, horses I don't know much about. So it's learning a lot about them. So it's like education as well, yeah, check it out, Heartland. Um, yeah, so United States now has 144,242 deaths. Yeah, it's horrible. And it's going to get worse. You know, Heerak Christian Kim, that's who I am. I'm predicting that we're going to hit like 10,000 deaths per day. And I don't think I'm being unreasonable here because let's say average of 100 people die per state. We have 50 states. So you're going to have 5,000 deaths. And right now, like something like 30 states are climbing up. And, you know, only like one or two or three states are going down. Rest are kind of staying in like similar level, which is like pretty high, like in thousand or whatever. And you know, I mean, it may not be increasing every day, but you have 1,000 cases per day, like Virginia. I mean, a lot of people are going to die. That's like 30,000 cases in a month, even if you just have 1,000 per day. That's a lot. And so, yeah, so I would, you know, I would encourage you to kind of have fun now because you may not be able to have fun. You know, Bible says this. You know, there's time to you know make peace. There's time to make war. You know, there's time to be happy. There's time to be sad. You know, there's time to laugh. There's time to cry. This is the time you can laugh because during flu season, you know, if your child dies or your wife dies, you know, that's when you have to cry. You can't laugh. It's sad. So this is a time when you should be happy and enjoy and make memories. Make your will. So if you die in Christmas time or before Christmas time, you know, if there isn't a confusion, you know. A worst thing is for family members to fight over, you know, your possessions. So make out a will so there's no fight, you know. And for children, I would recommend you just divide everything up equally among your children. You know, you don't want to create like resentment. So you just give everybody like, you know, if you have three children, like 33%, 33%, 33% of your assets, you know. And if one of your child dies, divide it up among the rest, two of them, 50-50, you know, just try to be equitable. Yeah, I mean, you want to leave behind a legacy where your children, you know, get along, right? You want them to get along, right? So yeah, don't like play favoritism in your will. Um, yeah. Anyway, you know, it's beach time. You know, I would encourage you to have fun. And as I said, you know, if you're like 18 to 24, you should really think about marrying because they say COVID-19 is forever. World Health Organization, it's one of their theories. And that's definitely possible because HIV's been around for decades. And hepatitis C's been around for decades. So we may have COVID-19 for like 50 years or more. One lawmaker in California said we're going to have COVID-19 for at least 10 years. I think it's going to be longer than that. My theory is we're going to have it like forever, like HIV, hepatitis C. Um, I would happy, I would be happy to be wrong, but I don't think I am because it's not a flu virus. It's not a seasonal virus. It's like here 365 days a year. So it's not a flu virus. Um, yeah, so I don't think it's going to go away. And I think like even Dr. Fauci kind of sees that now. A lot of experts are beginning to see that because you know this is not behaving like a typical respiratory virus or flu virus. This is something completely different. So yeah, so I would, you know, I would say you know the condition that we have now is the condition we're going to have for the rest of your life, for the foreseeable future, like 50, 60 years or more. Meaning like every time you open up, spike cases will spike up, and then you close down, you know, it's reduced, and you open up again, it will spike up again. Yeah, so that's what we have for the foreseeable future. It's unfortunate, but it's true. At least for the American case, it may be different from continent to continent. But we live in America, so this problem in America is something that we are experiencing. And the pattern in America may be distinctive to America, but that's the reality we have. So we have to live in our reality. Like we're not China, we're not Africa. So we have to live in our own reality, which is United States of America. We have to survive in our own context, right? So if you're 18 to 24, I would encourage you to go to the beach. You know, have fun. If you see a beautiful woman, you know, that you think you could marry, you know, I would say, take a risk, approach her, and then, hook up and then propose. Like, if you're 18, in the current situation that we have, where jobs are being lost every day, there's like 1.4 million people who filed for unemployment last week, and it's only going to grow. And if you've lost your job, let's say you're a 22-year-old college graduate who had a nice job for like a year and you just lost your job, you're not going to get that back. You're going to be unemployed for the foreseeable future. So you could join the military. You could become a like checkout counter person at your local Walmart. These are jobs you can have, but you're not going to be able to go back to the job that you lost because that's not coming back. The reason it's not coming back, COVID-19 is like forever, according to World Health Organization. And every time business try to open up, cases are going to spread. They have to close down again. So it's catch-22. You open, you're going to have cases. You close, the businesses, will be difficult. That's why here at Christian Kim, that's why I am recommending that all the businesses transition from like a business building business, transition into like you know um, like at home business, because you're safest when you're home, right? So if you do all your businesses at home, right, which you can do, most of white collar jobs, you could do everything you do in the workplace at home. If you do that, there are benefits. There are many benefits. Number one, your business will not go bankrupt, right? If you're a business owner or you're a stockholder, right? You have a business building where business people go to work, and you may have 1,000 people in the building working. If you have a corporate building, um, and and the people work from 9 to 5 and go back home. But all of them work in their little cubicles with the computer. They could do all that at home. So if you don't require your workers to come to your workplace, there really isn't a risk of them dying from COVID, at least in your workplace. They may catch COVID, if they're not careful when they're shopping or something, they may. But so yeah, I would say, if you're a business owner, medium size, small size, large size, is transition into 100% online, like work at home. Because that's one way you're going to save your business as well. Because if you try to bring your workers back, you're just going to have headache after headache. Because if your workers get COVID-19, they could sue you, for bringing them to work, putting their life in danger, right? So you have all these liability lawsuits you have to feel. You have to hire lawyers to like defend your company. Whereas if you say all the workers can work at home, then you're not going to have any liability lawsuits due to COVID-19. And if you're a white collar job, you could go 100% online, remote. You could use like Zoom or another program and just kind of conduct business that way. And you have to transition, because if you try to bring workers back to your corporate building, it's not going to work, because people are going to get infected, people are going to die. And the parent, and you have to test them every day. You have to clean every day. It cuts down on productivity. Whereas if they work at home, you don't have to worry about any of this stuff, And there's another benefit as well. Like if your workers are at home, then their children don't have to go to school. The children can learn at home, which means reduce the community spread of COVID-19, right? If every elementary, kindergarten, middle school, high school, college student stays at home, you're not going to have spread of COVID-19, really. So if you have your workers are working at home, their children are studying at home, they're all in their home and they're socializing in the context of their home, it's safe, right? They can hug their children and, kiss them goodnight every day. It's nice. But if their children have to go to work and they themselves have to go to work, you may have a situation where everybody has to wear a mask at home. You can't hug your children. Hugging your children would be risky. I mean, that's not fair. I mean, that cuts down on quality of life. So here are Christian Kim. That's who I am, an independent candidate for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District. I'm just trying to create an opportunity for your families to be able to continue to hug each other, for you to read bedtime stories to your children. You know, see this as a mixed blessing. You get to spend more time with your children, which improves the quality of your happiness, right? Because you want to spend more time with your children. So you're going to be happier. Your children are going to be happier because they prefer to spend time with you. And then, bullies who bully them in their school anyway. You think like there won't be bullies when they go to school? Bullies will still be there. But when your children learn at home, there's no bullying. So in terms of mental health, social emotional learning, your children may be far better off not being bullied when they go to school. They will be bullied, but they'll be at home. They may learn more. So yes, we are in a situation we don't want to be in, which is we need to kind of figure out a way to do everything online or at home. But it has its benefits. You get to spend more time with your children. Your children won't be bullied, so they'll be psychologically healthier, emotionally happier. Unfortunately, a lot of schools, there's a lot of bullying, and people try to reduce bullying, but, it's not working for most schools. So when your children stay at home, they're not going to have all that bullying. Yeah, so I mean, your children will be happier, you'll be happier. You're not going to work at home at your workplace, so you don't have to worry about like wearing a mask when you go home, right? You can hug your children as many times as you want, um, and then you can get closer to your children. It's quality of life. I mean, we don't know when you're going to die. Let's be honest. You could die in the winter. You could die next summer. You could die next spring. You could die next winter. So in a sense, you should spend the quality time you have with your children, treasure it, because you may die in 3 months. Because COVID-19 is a pandemic, it kills people. Look, 1,064 people died in 24 hours. Those are real people with real children, real wife, real parents. These are real people who died. So yeah, I mean, this is no joke, people. You go to work, you're gonna get exposed to COVID. Some of you are going to get it and die. You come home, you could expose your family members, your children. They could get it and die, right? So Heerak Christian Kim, independent candidate for U.S. Congress in Virginia 8th District. I'm trying to save your life. I'm trying to save your children's life. I'm trying to improve the quality of your life. Why am I running for Congress? I'm running for Congress because I want to help your family. I want to improve the quality of life for your family, you and your children, your parents. I want to save your life. I want to save your children's life. That's why I'm running for Congress, right? As I said, I start working as a nurse in August. And if I get elected in November, I'm going to be sworn in January. I'll continue to work as a nurse like until December. And then I'll go to the Congress and work on legislation to help you and your family. If you don't vote for me as a U.S. congressman, that's fine too. I want to save you, but if you don't want me to save you, that's fine too. I'll just continue to work as a nurse. Helping COVID-19 patients. I do what God wants me to do. If you don't want me to be your congressman, that's fine. You have freedom to elect me or not elect me. Nobody's twisting your arm. You see what I mean? So yeah, if you want me to help you and your family, then you vote for me. If you don't think I'll be a good person to help you and your family, don't vote for me. It's not that complicated. Obviously, I have a theme. I want to bring America back to God, and I'm making 3 campaign promises based on that, because Bible has its ethics that is literally written down for everybody to see for thousands of years. And the position that the Roman Catholic Church, Evangelical Church, which follows the Bible, has always held is homosexuality and gay marriage must be illegalized. because that's the biblical law. Romans chapter 1 emphasized that. Deuteronomy emphasized that. Uh, and so, I stand with the Roman Catholic Church, the traditional position, the Vatican position, the Georgetown University's official position. Every Catholic university, which is following the Vatican line, their official position is anti-gay marriage, anti-homosexuality. It's part of the religion of 2 billion Christians. That's not going to change. And so it's been that way for 2,000 years. It will be that way for 2,000 years more if Jesus doesn't come back in the next 2,000 years. So I'm running under the platform, Bring America Back to God. And so, obviously my first campaign promise will be something related with my theme, Bring America Back to God. And obviously, Sacrament of Holy Matrimony is one of the sacraments, very important sacrament. And it's based on the creation principle, right? In the beginning, God created them male and female, setting the tone for marriage between one man and one woman. And that's where the sacrament is based. So it precedes, or it comes before, the 10 Commandments, right? It's considered the creation mandate, which means it's higher than the 10 Commandments in terms of pecking order of laws. And so that's why that's my priority. That's my campaign promise number one. I'll get the Democrats, I'll get the Republicans, I'll get the Independent. I'll have a coalition that's made up of different parties to legalize homosexuality and gay marriage by law. Because that's the right thing to do. God gave us the Bible as a guide, moral guide for a reason. God did not give us the law to us for it to be a burden to us, but God gave us the law so that we can experience greater happiness following God's law, that we may avoid sickness and death following God's law. So we need to see God's law as something that is good, that's going to help our society, because it will. And that's why I want to conform America to God's law in this fundamentally very important principle of Christian marriage, or holy matrimony, right? Sacrament of holy matrimony. So that's my campaign promise number one, based on the creation mandate and reinforced by the 10 Commandments, Mosaic law, and then reiterated by St. Paul in the Age of Grace in Romans chapter 1, and throughout Pauline epistles and non-Pauline epistles as well. My campaign promise number two, as you know, is I want to illegalize abortion, because 10 Commandments says thou shalt not kill, and the Pope Francis and Pope Benedict and Pope John Paul II, all of them called abortion killing babies. And it is. I mean, geez, you're killing a living organism with a heartbeat. I mean, how would you define killing? For all of you out there, it doesn't matter if you're liberal or conservative, when you end the life of something that is a heartbeat, you're killing it. And since baby, the fetus, is a human being, you're killing a human being. I mean, when you're killing something with a heartbeat, as Melissa King Jacobs said, and also Betsy, we love Betsy in our cohort. We have 25 members in the CNL 2020 cohort. And Betsy's great. She's like our conscience. She's like the inner voice, the angelic voice, reminding us we need to do good, And so, she always raises the question about death being a cessation of heart, she has a point there, because, as I said, I'm not DNR. I want everybody to do everything they can to save my life. I don't care if my brain is dead or they think that it's dead. You can never really confirm that your brain is dead. There's really no way to confirm your brain is dead, right? Because if you're in coma, your brain is not working, obviously. So it may look like it's dead, but it may not be dead. Do you see what I'm saying? I mean, you're in a coma, right? Of course your brain's going to look like it's dead. Don't start harvesting my organs before my heart has stopped. That's what I'm saying. That's why I refuse to be a DNR. DNR is do not resuscitate. I mean, there was a guy, was it in New Jersey, who was in a coma for 50 years, was on a ventilator for 50 months. I mean, no, the 50 days. He was in the hospital for like 100 days, but he was on a ventilator for 50 days. If they pulled a plug on him, he would have died. But he's like, do not pull my plug. Do not pull my plug. So they didn't pull his plug, so he lived. He wasn't intubated with ventilator for 50 days. This is like a month and a half, and he still lived. There are people who live after being intubated like longer than that. There are people who are in coma for like 6 months and a year who come out of coma and live. Things happen. Obviously, it's not going to happen if you pull the plug and then harvest all your organs and give to someone else. I mean, obviously, you're going to die when they cut your heart out. So that's why I'm like, I'm an organ donor. As my Virginia driver's license shows organ donor, and I'm happy to donate my organs to people who need it as long as I'm dead, like my heart is stopping beating. Yes, give my organs to other people. But if my heart is still beating, I don't care if I'm in a coma, don't take my organs out. Do not take my organs out. That's what I'm saying. And so, so I shared with you, I guess it was a couple of days ago, about how I want everybody to do everything they can to save my life. And we call that full code. Because you want everybody to do everything they can to save you, full code. And I'm like, man, I don't want anybody to like have power of attorney over me to change my status from full code. If I'm in a coma, I don't mind being in a coma for 2 years. I'm in a coma anyway. I don't know what's going on outside, right? I have no problem being in a coma for 2-3 years. If I snap out of coma after 3 years, hey, it was worth it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, people live to like 100. I mean, what's 3 years out of 100? That's only 3% of your life. It's not that long. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's better to live. You know what I mean? Why would you want to die? I mean, it doesn't make sense. With beautiful women like that, I mean, yeah, I mean, you can look. You can't touch if you're married, but you can look. I mean, geez, they're more beautiful than the pyramids or our Eiffel Tower. Look at these beautiful women. I mean, God gave us all these beautiful women all around us. Unfortunately, they're wearing masks, but, I mean, geez, life is worth living just looking at the beautiful women walking around. For God's sake, put things into perspective. God gave us beauty for us to appreciate it, but obviously don't touch, don't commit adultery. But yeah, I mean, you could appreciate the beauty, just don't make sure you don't do it when your wife is watching because she'll be offended. She'll get jealous and upset. So, I mean, be smart about it, but, yeah. Yeah, in Africa, they're not suffering like we are because, as you know, in Africa, they kill 100% of homosexuals, like by law. Because Africa is either Christian or Muslim. Like in Kenya, it's 50% Muslim, 50% Christian. Nigeria, it's like 50% Muslim, 50% Christian. Both Christians and Muslims kill homosexuals. So, yeah, they're pretty serious about that. So God loves Africa, and that's why God's not killing many people in Africa. We're talking about third world nations that have no medicine, no ventilators, no X-ray machines or CT scans or in most of the areas. Look, I mean, they're not dying. We have the greatest medical technology. And look at how many people are dying every day, 1,000. That's because God's mad at America because American laws protect homosexuals, LGBTQ rights. God's mad at that. And that's why God's killing us, Americans, because God's mad at pro-gay laws of America. Because God expects nations to illegalize homosexuality. Why do you think I'm running for Congress? Because I want to save America. The sooner we legalize homosexuality by federal law, state law, local law, we're going to be in the grace of God again, and we're going to have barely anybody dying from COVID, like in Africa. I want to bring America there. And the only way I could bring America there is by going back to the grace of God. Obviously, I'm approaching this from a spiritual angle, but from a biological angle, right? COVID is COVID in Africa. COVID is COVID in America. Do you agree? It's not like, I mean, there may be mutations and differences, but COVID-19 is COVID-19 in Africa. COVID-19 is COVID-19 in America. So why is it that COVID-19 in America is killing 1,000 people per day, but COVID-19 in Africa are not killing people? Why? So biologically, it's hard to understand the reason, right? Right? Biologically, it's hard to explain it. I mean, you may be able to find an explanation. It's hard to find an explanation, Because if these COVID-19 are similar or same, then it should be doing the same thing wherever it goes, but it's not. So either there's been some serious mutations in American version, or that's making it more dangerous. You know, you have to find an explanation some way. And I'm saying biologically, it's hard to find an explanation why the same COVID-19 is not doing the same thing in Africa and America, right? So spiritually speaking, we could ask the question, what could be the spiritual reason why people are not dying in Africa, but people are dying in large numbers in America, right? I think it's a question that we have to ask. Because if we are serious about bringing America to safety again, we have to ask all the questions. I know there are some people out there, especially LGBTQ people, who don't want us to ask these questions, but we're talking about 330 million American lives. And I think it's important enough to save the lives of 330 million questions that we cannot say any question is off the table, right? Do you see what I'm saying? Because we're not in a time of peace where nobody's dying. We're in a time of crisis where over 1,000 people are dying. We have to ask these questions. And if LGBTQ people say we can't ask these questions, I say let's put every one of them in prison because they're a threat to our national security. Because being able to ask these questions may be one way to solve this crisis, which is a threat to our financial situation. It's a threat to our national security because our nation is vulnerable when so many people are dying and so much of our resources have to go into that, right? When you agree that it's a national security issue as well. And your children can die. You could die. And so independent candidate for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District, I'm saying that I have the right to ask this question. And I'm saying that you have the right to ask this question. I'm saying that anybody has the right to ask this question. And if anybody says you don't have that right, they are a threat to national security, right? By definition, because we need to solve this national threat which COVID-19 is posing. We have to ask every question that we can, right? We cannot be restricted from asking questions, any question that could lead to the solution, right? So I, Heerak Christian Kim, independent candidate for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District, say, if anybody's trying to block me, block you, block congressmen, block anyone in America from asking any question that could lead to the solution, I say lock them up. Yeah, because, this is a serious case. 1,000 are dying every day. At this average rate, we're going to have minimum 365,000 people dead in 1 year, minimum. And I'm predicting, Heerak Christian Kim, independent candidate for U.S. Congress, Heerak, I'm predicting that we're going to get to a level we're going to have like 10,000 deaths per day. Let's say if we maintain that average, we'll have 3.6 million people die in a year. So we do need to be able to ask these spiritual questions. Because I am saying there is God, and obviously most of 330 million Americans believe that there is God. And if God is punishing America for gay marriage laws, consistent with the law code of the Holy Bible and Romans chapter 1, then that has to be taken into consideration in our effort to solve our financial crisis, unemployment rate where we're losing millions of people from workplace, our American economy may collapse, our financial sectors may collapse, our banking systems may collapse, our farms may collapse, everything can collapse. In a situation like this, you cannot say we are forbidden from asking questions that could lead to the solution that would prevent America from collapsing, right? I mean, we are in an emergency scenario now, and we have to be able to ask these questions in this kind of emergency crisis. and anybody, any lobby group, any sector that says we cannot ask these questions, they're a threat to our financial viability as a nation, as companies, as individuals, as communities, right? As cities, as towns, as states. So I hear our Christian Kim, independent candidate for U.S. Congress of Virginia's 8th District, says, let's lock up everybody who are trying to tell us we cannot ask these questions. I honestly think we should declare martial law, like President Trump should declare martial law uh, and arrest all the Antifa people, all the defund police people using martial law. And under martial law, we can mobilize U.S. military to arrest everybody. And so that's what I'm proposing we do. And then let's use martial law to arrest and have mandatory death penalty for drug suppliers, drug dealers, under current federal law. So that includes marijuana. So I think that's what we need to do because we need to get our nation securely under control because our nation is headed toward collapse. Our nation is headed toward financial collapse, not just financial collapse, social collapse. And so we need to kind of organize everything and bring law and order back. And we need to be able to ask questions that will lead to the solution of stopping the financial collapse. I mean, who benefits when America's economic system collapses completely? Who benefits? Only communist China and Russia, which want us destroyed, right? They're the ones who benefit. We do not benefit. So when Heerak question came, that's who I am, ask the question, is the Bible portrayal of wrath of God happening now in America as described in Romans chapter 1? You have to support me asking this question and running with this question. Because if this question and solution to this question can end COVID-19 in America and bring us in a situation where Africa is, we can open up all the businesses without any problem. People are not going to die in large numbers. It's not like Africa is shut down. Africa has not shut down. Africa is functioning like a normal society and they still don't have any deaths because the promised wrath of God in Romans chapter 1 is not happening in Africa. Because whether they're Muslim or Christian, they're complying with the biblical law on homosexuality, which is the mandatory death penalty for all homosexuals. It's what it is. It is what it is. It's not my law. I didn't write this law, right? I'm just reading the Bible and literally and telling you what's in the Bible. And for 2,000 years of Christian history, they have enforced this law, mandatory death penalty for homosexuals, okay? And periods where they were lax about enforcing it, they experienced wrath of God, like during the blood plague. You have periods where Christians are not abiding by God's law, and then they experience the wrath of God. These things happen in history. But there's a solution. You see what I'm saying? It's not like there isn't a solution. There is a solution. But we need to comply with God's law. It's like any kind of law. United States Supreme Court justice need to comply with a moral code of the Bible, right? I mean, if they comply with the moral code of the Bible, they will be helping America survive COVID-19, right? See it this way. If there is law of God, and I'm saying there is, Catholic Church says there is, Evangelical Christian says that there is, and the law of God says in Romans chapter 1, homosexuality is evil, that if that is practiced, God will send the wrath of God. And if there is God who can act, and if there are angels who can enforce these laws, then God will enforce these laws through angels who are invisible. Right? That makes sense, right? I understand that there's a faith element involved, meaning You need to believe that there are angels. You need to believe that there is a God. But let's say you are an atheist or an agnostic. I still appeal to your sense of reason and logic and rationale. There must be a reason why the same coronavirus is killing so many people in America, but hardly killing anyone in Africa, right? There must be a rational reason. Now, you are an atheist or you are an agnostic, so you don't want to consider God at all, right? I understand where you're coming from, but we are talking about your life here, right? So we need to approach this rationally. So you need to remove yourself from your belief doubts and consider the possibility that there could be a being who is divine, who gave this law and who could be enforcing this law. I'm just saying, as a rational human being, consider the rational explanation for why things are so imbalanced in the sense of COVID-19 death. And biological explanations don't really make sense, right? Rationally, right? America has higher technology, better medicine, more equipment, more experts, higher level of nursing science, higher level of medical science than Africa. But we have far more people dying in our country from the same virus, whereas in Africa, people are not dying. So what is the rational explanation? Biologically, it doesn't make sense. So my argument is we should still try to figure out a potential rational explanation for this biologically, but we need to consider other realms of realities that may provide us with a solution. So I'm saying even if you are an atheist, even if you are an agnostic, I'm saying for the sake of your survival, even if you don't believe in God, consider the possibility that a alien life form, we could call it, God being alien, right, could exist, and this God is divine. Well, divine is a religious term, but let's say this alien life form is able to cause a catastrophe. Why is that so unreasonable? You have a gun, you could go and kill elephants after elephants in Africa because elephants don't have guns. Put yourself in the shoes of elephants. They're like the greatest, toughest beings. Even tigers and lions are afraid of them. But they're killed by, a 7-year-old boy who shoots a gun at an elephant. Put yourself in the shoes of elephants. How do you think they feel? Think about it. It's something that they can't really understand, right? They know something is killing them and they're kind, elephants. And it's coming from nowhere. They can't anticipate it. And they have no chance of surviving it, right? If they get hit with a gun, they could die of infection. They could die because it hit their organs, right? So look at it from the perspective of elephants. It's like some kind of freaky thing that is out of the ordinary for its experience, right? There's probably no rational explanation for that. In the same way, there may be some things that don't make rational sense to you. Could there be a God? And you're saying no. You as an atheist, agnostic, you're saying no. But I'm saying, why are you just writing that off? Isn't that a prejudicial, biased way of thinking? Because you are not allowing for a possibility of an alien life form? What if there is an alien life form? There has to be a rational explanation for what's going on in Africa and what's going on in America, right? the discrepancies of a same organism that is spreading in Africa and USA, there must be a rational explanation for all this. So what is the rational explanation? Biologically, it's hard to find one. So I'm saying, well, maybe we need to go to religious texts and see if we can make rational assessment that makes sense. And this is why it's important for America, because even if you are an atheist, even if you are agnostic, just by allowing for the possibility that there could be an alien life form called God, and this alien life form did give this Bible, and that this alien life form has a way to enforce that law that we call God's law, then complying with that alien life form's law can logically get rid of COVID-19 death. So what I'm saying is, why don't we try it out and see? You know, it's like whenever you're trying to find a solution to a problem, you just have to try things out, right? Obviously, everything we're trying out is not reducing the rate of spread or death. And that's the freaky thing. There's something crazy going on, which begs a rational explanation. And I'm saying it's this alien life form called God who is enforcing his law that is given in the Bible. Right? And if we come into compliance with this law, this alien life form was superior to us. It's like we're superior to elephants. We could kill it, right? With a gun, even 5-year-olds. But if we comply with God's law, like, you know, you have anti-poaching laws you make, you find solution to life. So I'm just saying, let's try it out. You know, we're talking about 330 million lives. So there are destructions at several levels. Obviously, there's a financial destruction, and that's the one you're going to feel the most. Not being able to pay rent, not being able to buy food, you know, not being able to pay bills. You're going to feel your financial loss first. And that's going to be felt by basically everybody in America, right? Because businesses, if they don't collect rent, they could go bankrupt. Like, you know, let's say apartment buildings, they all need to collect rent. If there's rent protection, landlords cannot collect rent. And the landlords who own these buildings may have a loan on these buildings. And they have to pay monthly leases on those buildings that are based on the rents that they collect from the tenants, right? And they have to pay the banks. And if they cannot pay the banks will go bankrupt, right? So it's an endless cycle. So because the whole economic system, for anyone who's studied micro and macroeconomics, understands everything is linked. So financially, we're collapsing. I mean, I don't think anybody would disagree with that in America. Secondly, our nation is collapsed in terms of social infrastructure. Because number one, people are dying. That always creates a problem for social infrastructure. Number two, we cannot operate normally in buildings. And since institutions have been tied to buildings in the transition period, and we haven't really, well, we've begun some of the transition. Until we transition fully into the online way of operating, society is going to be unstable. That's why Heerak Christian Kim, that's why I'm independent candidate for US Congress. Quicker we go to online 100%, it will stabilize society. Opening up, shutting down, opening up, shutting down, that creates unstable society. And it's emotionally draining for 330 million Americans. Because you open up and then you have to close down. You open up, you have to close down. It's too much for American citizens. They're fed up with that already. So what I'm saying is, do not play games with the American people. I, Heerak Christian Kim, independent candidate for US Congress, I'm saying, Let's have a policy where businesses go 100% home work and schools go 100% remote. When we start to implement this policy, we create a more stable society. Number one, we reduce anxiety. We don't want everybody in America being on Xanax, for God's sake. If you force the children to go to school when there are 10,000 cases of COVID in Florida, Texas, and California, you may have like 80% of your population being hooked on Xanax and benzodiazepines and other types of narcotics just because they're so anxious, their hands are shaking, you know, they're triggered, you know, and they feel like they need something to keep them level, you know. You don't want to create that kind of anxiety, right? That kind of fear. Because a society filled with anxiety and fear is an unstable society which can explode. So I'm saying the smart thing to do as a society is systematically, strategically have a plan to transition the whole society from physical presence in the workplace and school to 100% online, 100% at home, education and work. That way you reduce the anxiety. So let's say there are 3% of your state's population taking Xanax for anxiety. Reducing anxiety is necessary for societal stability and survival. People are not machines, they're emotional beings, they're mental beings. Their mental health is important. There's nothing that's going to destroy your citizens' mental health than intentionally making them anxious, intentionally making them afraid. That's what happens when you force them to go to work in a physical building where there's no vaccine. You're going to create anxiety and fear. More people are going to go into drug and drug addiction, and it's going to create a whole set of new problems. People are going to get Xanax, lithium, all kinds of medications because they're so anxious. They feel like they need a stabilizing medicine. You don't want 80% of your state to be on Xanax or lithium or other benzodiazepine, right? Prescription meds, because we know what prescription meds can do, right? So we need to work as a society on reducing anxiety. You cannot reduce anxiety and fear if you force everybody to go to work physically when they don't want to, or they're afraid to. It's ridiculous. White collar jobs, why should they have to work in a building where they put themselves at risk for COVID? It doesn't make sense. Let them work at home. Transition your corporate model to home-based work. Figure out ways to do assessment of your employees in a home-based setting. You could create software, that could keep track of performance, productivity. You could give your workers company computer to do their company work in, and they could use their personal computer for their personal reasons. You need to transition to 100% home-based model because production of anxiety and fear is destabilizing. You may have a multiple civil violence. We already have that, Antifa, in Oregon and Chicago. You're not going to reduce them if you keep putting people in anxious settings, making them anxious. That's not going to reduce social instability. So Heerak Christian Karen, independent candidate in for U.S. Congress, Virginia's 8th District, and Leonardo da Vinci of 21st century, is offering you a lifeline, offering all 50 states a lifeline. The way you go to stability, you stabilize your citizens, right? So you put the work at home. You put the families at home. Now, because you have put that in place, you can probably order a stay-at-home order, right? If the COVID cases and death are rising too much. Or, a limited type of stay-at-home order. You could say they could only, they have limited places they could go, restrict movement because they could do work at home. The children are at home learning. Or you don't have to have a stay-at-home order, but you have less opportunities for this to spread because there's no work, physical workplace, there's no physical school. It's easier to control COVID this way. So looking at long-term survivability of America, we cannot get there if we force everybody to physically go to school, physically go to work. Because you know what's going to happen. More people die, school will shut down. More people die, work will shut down. You cannot have this instability of opening up, shutting down, opening up, shutting down. It confuses everybody. It makes everybody nervous and anxious and fearful. You need to stabilize your society. This is why you need Heerak, me, independent candidate for U.S. Congress, in U.S. Congress to make legislation, provide guidance for our nation. Because our nation is headed toward complete collapse. Do you want our nation to collapse? If you keep forcing people to open when they don't want to, because they're afraid to open, you're going to cause anxiety, you're going to cause fear, you're going to cause social destruction that leads to financial destruction. You have teachers marching all over America saying they don't want to die. Geez, what do you think is going to happen? There is nothing you can say to destroy the image of these teachers who are underpaid, who are teaching because they want to help your children, most of them, marching saying, I don't want to die. I love your children. I want to teach your children, but I don't want to die. What impact do you think that will have in 2020 elections? President Trump, Vice President Pence, do you think you can win with that kind of image on all 50 states? I mean, geez, you have to make COVID-19 work for you. You have to make COVID-19 be your friend to help you win the election. If you keep going against the world and making everybody afraid and nervous, create new enemies, friends who used to be friends will become your enemies because you keep, in their mind, you keep jeopardizing their safety and the safety of their children, there's no way you're going to win. And that not only goes for President Trump and Vice President Pence. Vice President Pence is going to kiss his 80 years of presidency goodbye. I mean, it's a shoo-in. If you play your cards right, President Trump will win by a landslide. And then after President Trump's 4 years are over, Vice President Pence will have his 80 years without any problem. You're going to throw all this away if you're stubborn and you try to force Americans to things that they're afraid to do. Why would you want to be stupid like that? If you have campaign advisors who tell you open up, fire them immediately. They're probably like secret spies of Lincoln Project who want you to lose. Because I don't see any angle where President Trump and Vice President Pence will win if they keep forcing Americans to face their fear. You get nowhere. Have you tried to force your friends to face their fear? What happens? You lose your friend. Have you tried to force your girlfriend to face their fear? What happens? They break up with you. You're not going to win. This is a lose-lose situation. So whichever campaign advisor who's telling you to open up, fire them all. That's the smartest move. If you don't fire them, you're going to lose. That's the first thing I would do. If I were President Trump and Vice President Pence, anyone who's telling me to force Americans to open up, I'll fire them, nothing else considered. Because they're a threat to your election. Because Americans who have their children die will not only not vote for you, they want to campaign against you. And if you open up schools, thousands of children are dying in every state. And that's like guaranteed. So how do you envision yourself winning? Like if you're a governor, how do you envision yourself winning in the election? If you're a senator, how do you envision yourself winning when your state has thousands of children who died and you're the one who said they should open up schools? I mean, there's no way you're going to win. Doesn't matter if you collected $10 million, $50 million, $1 trillion, you're not going to win. And because you're talking about something that's very deeply personal for parents, right? And even if their kids did not die, if thousands of kids die in Kentucky, there's no way Mitch McConnell's going to win the election. There's no way. He's going to lose by a landslide. Doesn't matter who his opponent is. That's why I'm saying to the Republicans in the Senate and House of Representatives, be careful what you say. Be careful what you say about schools. Because how would you like it if your children die? How would you like it if your children die from COVID? How would you feel? I guarantee you start blaming President Trump. You know, I mean, that's how people are. People are like, oh, you know, gung-ho supportive of someone until that support cost them their loved one. You know, time of peace, you know, everything is fine. This is not time of peace. 1,000 Americans are dying every day. And here are Christian Kim, that's who I am, independent candidate for U.S. Congress on Virginia's 8th District, says it's going to go to 10,000 per day. All you need is average of 200 people dying in 50 states to have 10,000 people dying per day. It's not that hard to get to. We already have something close to 200 people dying in California, Texas, and Florida. Eventually, all 50 states can get there. You know, and some states will have far more. So yeah, we could easily have 10,000 people dying. I don't think I'm being irrational here, because I'm just doing simple math. 200 people dying per day, per state, times 50. 200 isn't that much. Yeah, obviously I'm trying to save you and your children. That's why I created this show. And I am the Leonardo da Vinci of 21st century. There's nobody as educated, experienced, and intelligent like me, have the wisdom of experience and depth of multiple disciplines. If you don't listen to me, you don't listen to me to your detriment. Obviously, you're free to do what you want. I don't believe in coercion. Do what you want. I don't even believe in a national mask mandate or even statewide mask mandate or city mask mandate. I don't think you should be forced to wear a mask. I would encourage you to wear a mask. But if you don't wear a mask and you die, that's your problem, right? I mean, I think everybody should wear a mask. But I'm never going to support a law to enforce that. You see what I'm saying? Because mask, it doesn't protect you 100% anyway. It protects you like 40%. So, I mean, it helps. But just because you wear a mask doesn't mean you could go to work safely. It doesn't mean that at all. You can wear a mask for 8 hours. You can still probably get COVID. Yeah. Yeah, you see what I mean. You know, when the schools open up and the kids have masks, you'll see thousands of them dying from COVID. Then you'll be like, oh, Heerak was right. You could get COVID with mask on. I'll be like, yeah. I've explained to you why you could get COVID with mask on. Some people don't wear it properly. You could take it off when you're eating or drinking something. You get it then. You know, I mean, there are many different ways for you to get COVID. Yeah. So so my solution is the best solution. It stabilizes society financially. Our market stabilizes, our economy stabilizes, our unemployment rate stabilizes, because the old business model requires people to be at work. When we shift to the new business model with people working at home, you know, we could cut costs, you know, in many different ways. In terms of physical structure and physical buildings, right? And other things that are related with that kind of framework of work. And we transition and maximize a new mode of operations. Yeah, I mean, companies won't have to go bankrupt, right? It's cheaper to sell things online than in a physical retail store, right? So like stores like JCPenney, they have JCPenney's, right? They could just convert them as warehouses and have people order them online and focus on that, you know? So they go from like physical mall-oriented shopping experience to online shopping, and they pour more money into advertisement and facilitating online shopping experience. People still have to buy clothes, right? You don't have to go bankrupt if you shift your model to fit the COVID-19 era. That's what I'm saying you should do. There's no reason why these companies should go bankrupt if they're adapting to the COVID environment. You're not adapting. That's why you're going bankrupt. And that's why my strategy works. It solves corporate bankruptcy problems. It solves financial crisis. It solves a lot of problems. Sooner we transition, sooner things will stabilize. During the transition period, it's going to be tough. And that's why I'm encouraging stimulus checks for Americans, because them having stimulus checks to pay rent with, to buy food with, stabilizes American economy during crisis time. A lot of the states are trying to like force, freeze rent. But what are you going to do? Freeze rent for like what? 50 years? I'm saying print you that money during the transition period. We need to stabilize the economy, print more money. Once we transition into at-home work and at-home school, things will stabilize. We need help during the transition period. You see what I'm saying? Our nation could collapse. That's one of the roads we can go, but our nation doesn't have to collapse. We may come out of this stronger because if we adapt to an online learning experience or at-home work experience, our productivity may go up. In which case, in the long term, we may be more efficient as a nation. So, I mean, every crisis is an opportunity, but I feel like President Trump is squandering this opportunity because he has bad advisors. And I recommend you fire all these bad advisors, get new ones, because there's no way you're going to win the presidency. There is zero chance President Trump will win the presidency trying to force people to open when they don't want to. Nobody likes to be told what to do. If they don't want to open and you keep forcing them to open, they're going to vote against you, even if they like you, or even if they like your principles, even if they like your decisions. They're going to vote against you because they don't like you, forcing them to do things they don't want to do. Why would you want to be hated by everybody, President Trump? That's the quickest way to be hated by everybody. Forcing people to do what they don't want to do. Yeah, don't do it. Yeah, I mean, geez, you got to be smart. I mean, don't listen to people, President Trump. That's not how you won 2016. You didn't listen to nobody. Just followed your gut instinct, and that's how you won. That's how you became a billionaire. Why are you like stopping your winning strategy and like listening to everybody? That's the quickest way to lose. You became a billionaire because you're the smartest person in the room. You became the president because your instincts are the best in the room. You keep listening to people, you're going to lose because their instincts are worse than yours. You see what I'm saying? I mean, you're like downgrading your opportunity to succeed when you listen to everybody in the room. Yeah. During crisis, autocratic leadership works the best, not democratic leadership. And for those of you who are experts of leadership theories, you understand that. During a time of crisis, autocratic leadership is the most efficient and effective leadership. During time of peace, democratic leadership is the most effective. Right? So, yeah. So, I mean, I think President Trump is doing right. He just went on the show today on his own. I think that's the way he should do it. Yeah, because you see, like Governor Cuomo, he goes on there by himself and does all the talk, and it works for him. People like him. President Trump to do that too. Just have like his staff like create like slideshows and PowerPoints, and with data, just show those, like, and then you could talk for like an hour on your own. I mean, I'm sure a lot of Americans like to listen to President Trump for 1 hour. So yeah, I'm all for President Trump to speaking by himself every day to give COVID-19 update. It's an update. It's not like a healthcare report. President Trump can give update with data that his underlings give him. He doesn't need his underlings to speak for him unless he wants them to. So I fully support President Trump speaking on his own. I think he's doing a smart thing. I mean, the more people see President Trump speaking every day in COVID-19, the more people would want to support him. So I think it's a good strategy. I saw a tweet of Kelly and Conway, and she's a wise woman. I agree with her. She was saying, President Trump doing a daily COVID briefing is a good thing, and I agreed with her. I agreed to that tweet and retweeted her stuff. Yeah, I mean, and I absolutely support President Trump doing a COVID-19 update because, you have all these like liberal media, and Heerak Christian Kim does not believe in the liberal media. We have all these liberal media bashing President Trump every second that they can get. President Trump standing up there for 1 hour, giving his own side, kind of bashing the liberal media. I think it's entertaining. I think Americans enjoy that. And just people will watch that just for the entertainment value. So I think it's good that President Trump is going up there and bashing the liberal media. People enjoy that kind of stuff. I mean, it's not like 330 million Americans don't necessarily want to hear like science stuff. They just want to get an update, which President Trump can provide by having his underlings, give him data, put them up on the screen. And then you could just start bashing the liberal media for like an hour. I think people will be entertained. I think that's the smart way to go with COVID-19 update by President Trump. Like 10-minute update of what's going on because, I mean, you have Heerak Christian Kim, independent candidate for U.S. Congress who gives you all the data. You just watch this. You get updated. President Trump would like give information that's relevant, 10-minute report, and 50 minutes start just bash liberal media, bash Biden, bash the liberals. I think people love that. I mean, people love that, And that's what I would recommend President Trump do, because he does it so well. He's really good at bashing the liberals. It's entertaining. It's fun. That's Americans want to have fun, And so, yeah, I'm all for President Trump going up there, bashing the liberal media during a COVID-19 update. Yeah, I mean, continue that good work. But one thing you should not do, President Trump, is force people to go to work or go to school during COVID. No. That's the kind of thing that liberal feminazis do, try to force you to do stuff that you don't want to do. You don't want to be like, you could be an autocratic leader, but looking like an autocratic leader. Because if you look like an autocratic leader, then people are going to call you a despot. People are going to call you tyrant. And that's like not good. So yeah, you could have autocratic leadership, but you gotta look like you're a democratic leader, right? I mean, if you look like an autocratic leader, man, you're gonna lose your followers sooner than you can say apple pie or beautiful blondes, like the ones behind me. Yeah. So don't do anything stupid. But I fully support President Trump speaking for an hour every day, bashing the liberal media. Oh yeah, Americans love that stuff. That's why they will vote for President Trump, because the way he bashes those liberals, they're not going to vote for President Trump because, like, he gives them like science bags. I mean, that's like secondary, Yeah, I mean, it's not. I mean, we all know COVID-19 is getting worse. So I mean, I think it's a good thing that President Trump goes up there and just bash the liberal media. Do some campaigning. Bash the liberal media, steal the votes away from Biden. I think that's the most important thing for COVID-19 update by President Trump. He's up for election. He actually cares about winning. Heerak Christian Kim, independent candidate for U.S. Congress. I want to win to help you, but if you don't want me to help you, fine. I do what you want. So, but President Trump seems to like really want to win. Yeah, and I think he should just kind of talk about the election for 50 minutes, talk about COVID for 10 minutes. I think that's enough. I mean, if he's talking every day, 10 minutes a day, that's more than enough. By president, unless some serious thing happens, then obviously you may want to give him more time. But you have this show, COVID-19 update by Heerak. I give you all the data. I talk a lot about what's happening and stuff like that. Yeah, you can see this show for all the COVID-19 data. You can watch President Trump for bashing of liberals. I mean, I'm sure he's much more entertaining when he bashes liberals than when he talks about COVID, right? Yeah. So South Africa, it's there are 408,052 cases, 1% death rate. So 6,093 have died. That's like 6 days for us. In South Africa, it's a big country. They, that's their total tally since November 2019, 6,000. Geez, that's like Monday to Saturday in America. 1 week. Egypt has 90,413 cases, and their death rate is 5%, but not many are getting it. Although they're not social distancing, they're not getting it for some reason. Right? So 4,480 are dead from November. Nigeria, 38,948,000. So not many are getting it. And out of those who get it, only 2% die. So 833 died from November 2019 to now. That's less than how many people died in America in 1 day. 1 day. I march for life. I want you to live. I want your family members to live. That's why I created this show. I march for your life. I march for life of your children. Yeah. So you should probably vote for me for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District. You help me so I could help you. If you don't help me, how can I help you? You got to vote me in so I could help you, right? So you got to help me so I could help you. Right? Come on, we're working together. We're in it together, You vote me in, I help you. I mean, you got to do your part. Yeah. So I'm going to do a cheer. Help Heerak, so Heerak can help you. 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 Yeah. So Nigeria, 833. That's it. How about Ghana? 29,672 cases, 153 deaths, less than 1%, 0.5%. Can you believe that? Algeria has 25,484 cases, 1,124 deaths. That's like 1 day for us. Yeah. Yeah, that's where we are. Now, as you know, as a clinical nurse leader, I passed my clinical nurse exam 1 week ago. So I'm just waiting for my certificate. I found out today, Grant passed his CNL exam today. Yay, Grant! Grant is a cohort member. So we have 25 people in cohort. There are 3 guys. There's Heerak from South Korea, Grant from North Korea, and Billy from Texas. So Billy from Texas is taking his CNL exam on Monday. I hope he'll pass. And Grant took it today and he passed. So yeah. So yeah, it's good to see, people passing, hopefully 100% of us pass, so let's keep fingers crossed. But yeah. But it's almost TGIF, and obviously tomorrow is TGIF. Saturday is a beach day. It's beach day. So we are going to do root cause analysis of COVID-19, but in the spirit of TGIF, beach day. So we know that a lot of people are dying. How do we understand the causes of these deaths? So I kind of explained to you the spiritual explanation of the causes, right? Yeah, there's a lot of wonders in the world, like the pyramids is a wonder, one of the wonders of the world. Pisa Tower, it's like leaning, but it's not falling, right? And we have beautiful buildings like Eiffel Tower, um, and the beauty of the feminine women's body form, a Colosseum, and you see there all these wonders of the world, impressive things in the world. Um, they are able to stand and survive test of time because of a positive cause, right? Something allows them to withstand the test of time. Root cause analysis generally studies the problems. Like let's say 1,000 people in America are dying per day. What went wrong? Right? That's what we study, right? What went wrong? So I discussed with you from a spiritual angle what went wrong, right? And the reason we do root cause analysis is because once we isolate and identify the cause that is leading to the problem, if we fix that, then the problem gets solved, right? So in the future, the problem gets solved. And that's why we do root cause analysis. What caused the current crisis? I have some photos of friends of mine there. You know, you see below the video of me waving here. Me with my Jewish friends from Hebrew University of Jerusalem when I was at the Rothberg School at Hebrew University of Jerusalem as a visiting research fellow. I flew over to Turkey and got to hang out with some Hebrew University of Jerusalem students uh, from United States. All of them are Americans going to places like Brandeis or, you know, like American universities. And they're doing a junior year or junior semester abroad. So it's fun to hang out with them. Below that, you have me with Leica, this Indian girl. I think she's the most beautiful Indian girl that I've seen. She's like Hindu. She was doing PhD at Oxford, and I kind of shared with you about Leica. So if you go to the videos from before, you can hear the stories. She's really nice. And there's a photo of me with a cowboy's hat and sunglasses. That was, you know, um, yeah, it was like Halloween. But the girls are not wearing a Halloween outfit, but they look attractive, you know. And below that is uh, a student who was active in the Christian Union. It's a Christian InterVarsity, you know, InterVarsity Christian Fellowship or Chi Alpha. And so she's very active in that Christian group, and she's from Wales. You know, so I became kind of, you know, friends with her, and so yeah, she has a nice smile. She's a great Christian, and so yeah, you know, you go to Bible study, you meet a lot of great girls. You know, people could be your wife. So yeah, unfortunately, right now the campuses are closed and everything is closed. So yeah, but yeah, I mean it's unfortunate. But for those of you at Georgetown who went to Chi Alpha, you know the women there. You know, I mean, you know, you may start, you know, kind of a relationship with someone online, and then you can marry them. You know, when you graduate from college. You know, so it's not a bad idea. Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't wait around to start a family. I'll say every woman should ideally focus on trying to get married from 18 to 24. You know, especially in COVID-19 era, you don't know what's going to happen. It's not like you could date around. You know, it's a complete different system now. You probably have to go to like a form of, you know, like internet dating and marriage or arranged marriage. You know, it's not a you're not going to be able to go on dates, watch movies, go to the cinema, go to the movie theater, go bowling, go out for drinks, you know, go out for a restaurant. That's over for the foreseeable future. That's not going to happen. So yeah, you just have to transition. So I would argue, like, you know, you should, or I would recommend that you should transition into married life sooner than later, because I think that's you know, happier for you, and it's safer for you too. You know, and basically you really don't have much choice in the COVID-19 era. So that's the only pathway you have available for you. But yeah, so that's where we are. Well, I'm happy that you joined me in my show, and Harry is happy too. Harry is like really happy that you stopped by. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. I hope that you'll be well, and that your family will be well too. So See you tomorrow. Bye.